for them and what difference music teachers have made to their lives and their careers. So could I start, John, with you? There's an insight there.
Okay, yeah, look, there is no doubt in my mind that several music teachers made such an incredible difference to my life that I can't even begin to calculate it. I was thinking about this because I thought you might ask that question. And the first person was a lady called Miss Williamson when I was in first class. They still have first class, year 1 I think it's called now. And when I really enjoyed kindergarten. I won't tell you my whole life story year by year, but
could you go back a bit before that? I just want to know what you did before.
I was born at a very young age, ahead of my time. So I actually didn't get on with my teacher in year 1. It was described as a personality clash by my parents, but I actually then recalled, years later I put the pieces together, I recalled the other teachers bitching about this. Jill, who was in year 1, the teacher, and I couldn't quite come to grips with the idea that teachers might not actually like each other. You know, there might be staff room disagreements. But the saving grace in all of this was Miss Williamson, the second of the year 2 teacher, who encouraged me to play the school organ thing, you know. It was one of those, like a Casio organ with, you know, drum beats and stuff like that. And this was a lifeline for me. She was obviously aware that I'd been stuck with this.
Now, I remember what was very important to me in year 1, which was, of course, the second year of school, that we had the coloured dots, you know, the music, and you had a castanet, someone else got a tambourine, you all went and got something out of the box, and there was always a rush to get a tambourine, I don't know why, and the real losers got triangles. Castanet was okay, you could sort of hold your head up at recess if you played castanet. If you're a triangle, you'd have to sit over there. But tambourine was the thing, so, and I was always very shy, and I always ended up with triangle. But we'd sit there with our things, you'd be blue, the other guy would be red, you'd be, you know, green, whatever colour, you know how it works, I'm sure you do, and tap along. This was great fun, but I wasn't particularly musical, I didn't think it was what I was going to do first in my life. And then we got to primary school and had my first music teacher. There was one of the teachers at school that ran the band, and I saw the brass band and I was just absolutely taken with it. And watching, not so much the instruments, although they were much hipper than any tambourine as far as I was concerned, but the fact that the band was playing the music, because you used to play along to the record. Toreador's March was one of my big numbers. And suddenly there was no record. I looked for the record player and it wasn't there. I hit grade 3 and the band was making the music themselves, and I said, this is just too cool. And I have to do this. And I want to play the one that goes like that. Whatever that's called, because that was like they were sword swallowing. And the music teacher's name was Jack Ackhurst, and he was a very tall, gruff man, and he gave you auditions. Musical aptitude test it was to get into the band. Well, the interesting thing is you get a musical aptitude test even though you haven't done anything. He'd do it with a cornet. He'd give you a cornet, he'd say, do this, and then just keep blowing. Pretend you've got a tea leaf on the end of your tongue. I didn't understand, I didn't drink tea. And keep blowing. If you did that and you got a note, you were in the band and you were musical. If you did that and you didn't get a note, you were put on the bass drum. My brother ended up on the bass drum, which he's still playing today. He did play trumpet and tuba for a while. But this teacher was fantastic because he taught us how to play by ear. He would play us a record. He'd play us an old record player he'd put on the desk, you know, the ones in a suitcase. And he'd play us a record of the march, or there's a brass band of the march, and we'd all listen to it and say, that's how you're supposed to sound. Play it like that. And then he'd count us in. And it was fantastic. And that was great because having heard it, I didn't need to read the music. I could just play what I'd heard on the record. And little did I know I was doing all this fantastic ear training. I didn't learn to read music terribly well at that stage.
But no, I find that interesting because one of my first piano teachers has a theory, which no one else has corroborated yet, but that there are 2 types of musical brain. One that can pick things up by ear and improvise and memorise really well, but can't read terribly well, which was me, and the other that can read really well but doesn't improvise terribly well. I don't know whether that's true or not, but
I think there are 2 types generally, everything's, of course, you categorise anything and you miss all the people on the edges and all the grey areas, but I think there may be two types of musicians. But I don't know that it's the type of brain or whether it's the way what they've had the chance to do. If you started learning the piano reading and then got more to read and then went through all your grades and never got the chance to improvise, you could be said to have that kind of brain, but how do we know if we didn't get you to improvise and jam early and listen and took the music away? I don't want to disagree with someone I haven't even met, but I don't think it's a type of brain. I think it's a type of training or opportunity or circumstance. Because most people I've met who are the good readers who don't improvise end up improvising really quickly if I spend a couple of hours with them. And the reverse is true too. You get one of those guys who can jam one doesn't read, and you sort of just them a bit. And wake up, look at the music. But no, if they start reading each day, a few weeks, I'm talking weeks, not years, they start reading a whole lot better. So I don't know. I haven't met anyone yet who just couldn't. I've met lots of people who feel they can't, one or the other, but I think that's just because what they're comfortable with and what they're used to. But look, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, music teachers, that's all right. Music teachers, then I got to high school and Mrs. Long, and we used to delight in the fact that sometimes we're allowed to call her Betty. It was a fantastic, because I got to high school, I've been playing in the brass band at school, but I started playing in a Dixieland band outside of school, playing jazz. And this music teacher, this was great. That first one, Mr. Ackhurst, gave us this fantastic opportunity to learn to play by ear and was just so passionate about the band. And that's what I got most from that teacher, and that was such an important thing. He didn't say, right, it's time for band practice. He loved it. Let's get the band out. Let's play. Any opportunity. We played every morning on assembly. The band played. Not special occasions, every morning, which was fantastic. Anyway, high school came and Mrs. Long, I went to her and I said, I'd like to start a big band. Because there wasn't one, it was an unheard of thing at the time. It was back in the late 1800s. But seriously, when I was starting high school, I don't think there were any stage bands in school. We'd never heard of one. And I said, I'd like to start a big band. And she said, fine, can I play piano with it? And what a great answer from a music teacher to say, well, I don't know, we don't have time for that, or we don't have the program, we don't have the music. She said, if you want to start a big band, that's great, could I play piano in it? And I said, well, we'll need a pianist. I said, absolutely. I said, what will I do? And she said, go on assembly today and announce that you're going to start a big band. You're looking for trumpets, trombones, saxophones. Tell them what you want. Anyone who wants to do it, come at lunchtime. And she said, you can run it and see how we go. And away we went, working together. She saw, I guess, right away I had this drive and this musical ability. And she said, go for it. I'll support you. I'll make sure. And, you know, she got me a spot on assembly. You normally had to wait a week. I ran a big band right through high school. Two of the other teachers played in the band. A science teacher came and auditioned on trumpet. And I said, I can put you on fourth, but that's the best I can do. Unless we can talk about my assignment. You want a solo? That's going to be a good grade. Oh, the funny thing is you think I'm joking. Anyway. But these music teachers in school have played such a huge role. Sometimes none of them, I mean, look, quite frankly, none of them taught me anything about how to play the trumpet. None of them are trumpet players for a start. That wasn't the point. They made these opportunities and fostered what I wanted to do musically, and everyone else in the school got to be in it too. And whatever was going on, it was this huge sense of support and passion were the two things that really mattered. And you know, and also it was just great that they were so into the music themselves.